Ankalaev just did a fantastic job of shutting down the scariest guy in the division. It was so interesting because the consequences of exchanging with Pereira are so high, but also Ankalaev. Ankalaev has knocked a lot of people out. Ankalaev has knocked out some of the best guys in the division.
Alex Pereira is leaving no stone unturned as he prepares for his rematch with Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 320. Determined to reclaim his light heavyweight title, Pereira has been sharpening his skills alongside former rival and top middleweight Sean Strickland. The two are pushing each other hard in training, with Pereira fully focused on correcting past mistakes and preparing for Ankalaev's dangerous style. Joe Rogan shared his thoughts on this matchup, praising Ankalaev for the way he shut down Pereira. Rogan called it an impressive performance against one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. While Pereira's knockout power always grabs attention, Rogan noted that Ankalaev himself has finished some of the best fighters in the weight class. He highlighted Ankalaev's well-rounded skill set and exceptional movement, saying his footwork resembles that of a much lighter fighter, almost like someone at 175 pounds. Rogan explained that although some fans didn't find the fight thrilling because it lacked a dramatic knockout, it was a highly technical battle, and Ankalaev executed a perfect game plan to neutralize the scariest man in the division.
We were talking about how exciting the Ankalaev and Pereira fight was, even though people didn't like it because it wasn't like some crazy result and a giant knockout like you get in most Pereira fights, but it was so technical. And Ankalaev just did a fantastic job of shutting down the scariest guy in the division. It was so interesting because the consequences of exchanging with Pereira are so high, but also Ankalaev. Ankalaev has knocked a lot of people out. We always look at Pereira's knockouts, but Ankalaev has knocked out some of the best guys in the division.
Rogan marveled at how quickly Ankalaev closed the distance, praising his hand speed and complete skill set. He said Ankalaev can overpower opponents even bigger than him, calling him a freak of nature. Rogan added that nobody else in the division moves like Ankalaev, pointing out that he has beaten everyone put in front of him and is still young, making his recent performances even more impressive. He reminded fans that Ankalaev once lost only because he was caught in a triangle by one of the best guard players in the sport, and now he's the UFC light heavyweight champion, having beaten one of the most devastating strikers the division has seen in years. Rogan emphasized that Ankalaev pressured Pereira on the feet, exposed his difficulty fighting off the back foot, and did exactly what was needed to win. Pereira had a few moments, like landing a head kick and some sharp punches, but for the most part, Ankalaev controlled the distance and dictated the pace.
Fight that he was winning, he got caught in a triangle from one of the best guard players in the sport, and now he's the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world against the most devastating champion we've seen in years. I mean, it's really an impressive performance by Ankalaev. He did everything he had to do. He pressured him on the feet. He showed that Pereira has a harder time fighting off the back foot, and he did what had to be done. You know, there was really only a couple moments where Pereira stunned him. There was a head kick. There was a couple other moments where he caught him with good shots, but mostly Ankalaev was controlling the distance, was putting the pressure on him, and we saw Poatan fight in what, you know, up till now is an uncharacteristic position.
In a recent training clip, Pereira was seen relentlessly drilling his takedown defense with multiple partners testing him one after another, showing his clear focus on preparing for Ankalaev's wrestling-heavy approach ahead of their UFC 320 rematch.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Here we go. Ay, qué bien. Órale. Abajo, abajo.
Ankalaev fired back after seeing Pereira's training footage, mocking his preparation. He joked that Pereira was bringing in taxi drivers to help him with wrestling and warned that he shouldn't worry about takedowns. Ankalaev promised he would find Pereira's big head again when they meet at UFC 320. This guy brings taxi driver to help him with wrestling. You need to worry about wrestling. I'm going to find this big head again, he said. Pereira stated that he is fully motivated to reclaim the belt from Ankalaev. He admitted that the first fight left room for debate, with some fans believing Ankalaev deserved the win, while others felt Pereira did enough. He suggested a draw would have been fair, which would have allowed him to keep the title. He insisted that the fighter who showed up that night wasn't the real Alex Pereira, and promised a different performance in the rematch. He added that he doesn't need a knockout this time, as his full skill set is enough to handle Ankalaev in every area.
Are you upping the wrestling training? Are you doing more wrestling training in this training camp?
And if he's training the same as always training, a lot of wrestling in our training. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. That's what built him to be who he is in the UFC, with Glover's style of wrestling, the way that he trained. Even guys go, oh, he keep his hands down, look at his head. Okay, but go and try to hit his head on the fight, see if it's hard, see if you can. You know what I mean? So he just showed things that he wants to show. He's always focused on the wrestling for the MMA training, not only the strike. It's been almost 4 years that he's around here now training wrestling like that, you know what I mean? But that's since day one. He was already an outstanding striker. So Glover helped to put all the grappling together, to put the takedown defense, to put everything, right? So he's constantly trying to evolve.
When asked if he was increasing his wrestling training, Pereira said he has always trained heavily in wrestling and grappling, crediting Glover Teixeira for shaping his ground defense from the start of his MMA career. He explained that people often focus on his striking and think his defense is open, but it's harder to hit him than it looks. Pereira emphasized that he's been committed to wrestling since day one, constantly evolving his takedown defense and grappling skills to complement his elite striking.
Magomed, when you see the footage of him going home with the belt that was yours, and all the hoopla and stuff, how does that make you feel?
People say that he won, people say that he lost, people say that I win, like very contested, right? Why didn't give it a draw and I left with the belt?
So you are very motivated to get the belt back.
Absolutely. I can't wait for this moment to happen again, and it's gonna be a very different fight. That day was not the same Alex Pereira, so if come the regular Alex Pereira, it's already more than that. But imagine now if it's different. It doesn't have to be a knockout, but I feel that I have enough game to do whatever I want with this guy.
When asked how it felt to watch Ankalaev leave with the belt, Pereira said that many people felt the fight was too close to call. People say he won, people say I won, why not give it a draw and I leave with the belt? Pereira repeated that he is very motivated to get the belt back and promised a very different fight next time. That day was not the same Alex Pereira. It doesn't have to be a knockout, but I feel I have the game to do whatever I want with this guy.
Many fans believe Pereira lost the first fight due to an injury. Michael Bisping also addressed Pereira's injury, saying the rematch with Ankalaev will bring more clarity. The UFC Hall of Famer respected Pereira for not using the injury as an excuse and giving Ankalaev full credit for the win. Bisping noted that the injury likely wasn't too severe, since Pereira still threw 76 powerful punches at UFC 313. He explained that adrenaline during a fight often masks pain, and that punches to the face rarely register
a lot
as
of people
pain
might
the way
think
body shots
that
or
if
leg
Alex
kicks
Pereira
do.
goes out there in the next fight, swings like crazy, gets a big knockout, they might say, well, hold on, there it is. Clearly evident that his hand was broken leading into the first fight, because look what happened in the second one. Now, by the way, he did throw 76 punches. 76 punches with the power that Pereira has. I don't think there was too much of an issue. Maybe it was a little sore leading up to the fight, but as I said, with the adrenaline, you don't really feel those things. People that aren't fighters won't understand. Getting punched in the face doesn't hurt, okay? You don't get hit and it registers as, oh, that hurt. No, when you get kicked in the leg, you feel that. When you take a body shot, you feel that. But punches to the face, we can take that all day.
After UFC 313, Bisping agreed that Pereira deserved another title shot. He said the reaction would be massive if Pereira beats Ankalaev in the rematch, as it would further cement his legacy and remind everyone why he became a two-division champion. Bisping added that Pereira will enter the rematch with more confidence, knowing he successfully defended every takedown attempt in their first fight. That experience should allow him to fight more aggressively and swing with the freedom fans love to see.
The way all the ones that he had when he fought injured as well, like when he fought Yuri Prohaska with a broken toe. But if he beats Magomed Ankalaev and it's a quick knockout, people will jump to the conclusion and say, look, listen, Clearly, the man did have a broken hand, but I don't necessarily agree with that, because going into the rematch, a lot of questions have now been answered for Alex Pereira. As a striker, when you're going out there against somebody like Magomed Ankalaev, who granted doesn't have the wrestling of a Khabib or an Islam Makhachev, right? He's just not that type of guy, but he can wrestle, and he did go for takedowns, and he has taken down lots of his previous opponents. That causes you to clam up. Now Pereira knows he can stop those takedowns. He stopped about 20 takedowns. I don't know what the exact number is, but every single one. Not once did Alex Pereira hit the canvas. So now that's going to give him the mental fortitude, the strength, the confidence to go forward a little bit, to be a bit more reckless, to take more chances, and to swing like the Potan that everybody loves, okay?
Meanwhile, Pereira revealed he already walks around at 230 to 235 pounds, despite competing at light heavyweight. He said there was no plan to fight at heavyweight yet, but his hard training and natural size gain are pushing him in that direction. Pereira added that he listens to his body, and if cutting weight becomes too difficult, he will move up to heavyweight.
We're on a scale, and I think it said something like 240. You obviously fight in the light heavyweight division. How much do you weigh now?
Around 230 to 35. That's the what he usually do. Even for middleweight, he got to weigh 230 at one point.
Wow. Was there any consideration before you took this fight about fighting at heavyweight?
No, absolutely none. Just took some break, training hard, training heavy, gain some muscle, gain some size, but all folks for this. For middleweight, people ask like going light heavyweight. He used to say like, I'm gonna listen to my body when it's becoming harder. So the same way goes here. Eventually, if it gets harder for me to go light heavyweight, I'm gonna go heavyweight.
Carlos Prates predicted Pereira would win the rematch, saying Pereira has had enough time to analyze and fix his mistakes and expects him to score a knockout. Heavyweight contender Curtis Blades also backed Pereira, citing his ability to recover from injury and push through adversity. Blades said that as long as Pereira is healthy, he expects him to come out on top.
I think Pereira gonna win. You know, he got a break on his career. You know, he saw all his mistakes, you know, and fix everything. And now I think he gonna step on the cage and gonna knock Ankalaev out.
I'm gonna go with Pereira because of the injury, and also I heard he had this same illness that I had, and I know how that feels. So yeah, as long as he's healthy, yeah, I go with Pereira.
Chael Sonnen, however, questioned Pereira's level of commitment to the rematch. He noted that big fights rarely happen when one fighter isn't fully invested, and couldn't recall another case where a challenger wasn't publicly passionate about getting the fight. Sonnen stressed that true contenders sacrifice everything, and Pereira's quiet approach seemed unusual. He added that if Pereira wins, he will have proven himself as the best in the division, and if he loses, his path to move up to heavyweight will be clear.
Big Unk has been calling out Pierre, which it just doesn't usually work that way. And there was so little interest from Pierre's side, at least publicly, that I wasn't sure they were gonna do that. I can't remember a time in history. I mean, I'll go as far as that. I don't know a time in history when a fight got made and the challenger didn't ask for it. When the challenger wasn't into it, where the challenger wasn't letting it be known that I'm putting my entire life on hold, nothing matters, complete sacrifice so I can beat this man. I don't remember that ever. Will you come out and support and watch and be into the fight 2 more times? Because if Pereira wins, that's the only honorable thing to do. Right? You gotta settle the score. Pereira knows this better than anybody. So, what do you do in that case? I mean, if Pereira wins, and we got to go back to Unk. If Pereira wins and we're not going to go with Unk, anybody in that top stratosphere, Pereira's already beat. And with a loss, the answer for Pierre will be very clear. And it will be what he's wanted all along. He now joins the heavyweight division.
Andrew Tate also expressed confidence that Pereira will return stronger after the setback.
He recalled that they were once scheduled to fight back in the Showtime days and praised Pereira's toughness and experience, noting that he always learns from victories and defeats. Tate added that Pereira has earned admiration worldwide and predicted he would come back even better.
Last thing, I saw you and your brother in Vegas over the weekend. Do you have any words for Pereira? He took a loss, like any maybe words of encouragement?
Pereira's an OG. Pereira fought Sahak Papayan, and I was supposed to fight Pereira a long time ago, but he ended up fighting Sahak instead back in the It's Showtime days. So him and I have been fighting way back when. So he's been around. He knows the game.
Yeah.
He understands you win some, you lose some. You either use it to come back stronger and better and learn something, or you use it to destroy you. It's like everything in life, right? So I think he already knows exactly what to do. The world loves him. He knows that.
You think he'll win the rematch?
I think he'll be back. Yeah, the world loves him. He's a loved guy. He'll be back.
That wraps up today's video. Share your thoughts about this matchup in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more updates on upcoming UFC encounters.